Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness, and let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down. Down. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Rise together.
Accountability starts now. The Eric Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up. Stand up, shout it loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry, because I usually transition the screen on, and for people who tuned in, they couldn't hear me, but they saw me laughing, and I was responding to what you said, Vincent. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday.
No, tell me what I said.
No, I said, well, I'm trying to share the show. So, but somebody sent me a text message this morning, and it says, it was a screenshot. It said top tax rates by state. Under Biden's tax plan. California 62.6%, New Jersey 60%, New York State 58%, and New York City 62%. And then they followed up and they said payroll taxes for 2020, the Social Security payroll tax is 6.2% each for the employee and employer on wages up to the contribution base of $137,700. It says self-employed individuals are liable for Social Security tax for 12.4% on their net profits. The Biden plan would impose an additional Social Security payroll tax of 6.2% each on employer and employee on all earned income of $400,000 or more. Under the plan, no additional Social Security tax would be imposed on wages between the wage base currently 137.7 up to $400,000.
$400,000. Right.
So what does it look like in a home state? Good morning. What does it look like in a home state of Delaware?
What do you mean?
The taxes and everything that. So you're saying 60% in New Jersey, 60.
Oh, what are the taxes going to be? Oh, well, those were the highest. I don't know what New Jersey is going to be. Do you have those numbers,
No,
Vincent?
not New Jersey, Delaware.
I mean, I'm sorry, in Delaware.
Delaware.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the Delaware
To see
numbers.
what this home state gets.
Well, keep in mind why California, New Jersey, and Delaware New Jersey and New York are so high. We're also one of the highest in terms of cost of living and employee wages.
But they drove up the taxes. It ain't because it has to be.
Yeah.
So you said it was restorative justice. Yo. So listen. So what I say is this. Wait. I say, look, Joe. Joe, and I'm not talking about Joe McCullum. We're gonna talk about Joe McCullum, but I ain't talking about him yet.
Oh, here we go.
But Joe Biden, part of what you could do is as part of your plan for Black America is waive the taxes on Black folk. Hello.
Yeah. You know how many white people will start turning their IDs and reflect them being black?
No, they wouldn't. They still wouldn't want to be Black.
No, they don't want to.
And listen, listen, look.
Responsibility.
It comes with a huge responsibility.
You're like, no, I'll deal with it.
That's right. Man, listen. This is why I'm so impressed with Rachel Dolezal. That woman wanted to be Black, and Black people were mad at her. I'm like, yo, give her some of this heat.
Black people are upset with her. Talking about, oh, she ain't black.
Yo.
She want to be black.
Give her, let her take some of this heat off me. Yo.
She gonna learn.
Yo, listen. I like to see that way. If I'm riding down the street with Rachel Dolezal, we both in our own cars, right? If she's identifying as Black, then that means that she can equally be stopped driving while Black, which might take some heat off of me. So if she wants to identify as Black, let her go ahead and do that. I got no problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. Let her, let her do it. But no white person, I don't care how much money. Listen, you could take white folk who are homeless, who are destitute, and you can tell them, like, that movie Trading Places. You could ask them, you say, yo, you want to trade places with that Black person over there? Nah. Because they're rolling the dice that their luck is going to change purely on the basis of white privilege. See, things are going to turn around for me. See, they look and see that Black person got what they got, but it might not last long. But what will last for their lifetime is their melanin.
You will not believe how true that is.
I know it is. Come on.
Look, Eric, I ran into a homeless guy in Hawaii who had the white privilege attitude. I'm like, really? You think you're better than me, and you're living in a shopping cart under a palm tree?
But you know why? Because he's living out of a shopping cart under a palm tree in a country that adores him. You're living whatever you're living right now, to put an asterisk next to it, in a country that despises you. See, and so he recognizes that. See, and so when we were talking yesterday about rugged individualism, all he knows is if he decides that he wants to pull himself up by his bootstraps, he's going to have the wind beneath his wings, called the law and justice system of the United States of America. You decide that you want to do it. They're throwing boulders at your shins, man. You know what I mean? They're shackling your ankles. They're keeping you from running that race. But as soon as, listen, back in the 60s, when those white folks decided they wanted to be hippies, right? They were defiant. They were doing drugs. They let their hair grow. They did all of those things. And then when they woke up and decided that they wanted to go work on Wall Street, all they did was cut their hair. See? But for every black person that went to Woodstock, right? Thinking you're going to do what they do, they had a rude awakening. Awakening.
Because back then in Woodstock is when they had the good drugs.
Yeah.
They don't get this watered down stuff they have now.
Yeah.
So, it was a rude awakening.
They had a rude awakening, man. Life is different on this side of the tracks.
So, Biden's plan of restorative justice. It looks like, we're talking about, decades now, that people over $300,000 tend to pay less in taxes than their secretaries average, or administrators pay more in taxes than them. So this part gets people who are making over $400,000 to pay close to their fair share. So that's why I said it's restorative justice. No. And you look at the income or what could be used with that income to better our country. You know, taxes actually do things like do federal supports to schools. It does road building and improvement. It also does a lot of other community services like Medicare, Medicaid, and, Social Security. So, it's about time that some people, start to pay their fair share. And I'm okay with that.
All right, listen, we jumped into some stuff real quick. I mean, and kind of deep, and we can go down this rabbit hole, but I want to slow down and take a hard left. Diane inspired me.
How did I inspire you? It's a Diana Ross day.
No. You know what today is? It is National Boston Cream Pie Day.
No, it's Diana Ross Day.
No, it is National Boston Cream Pie Day.
What did I just say?
You said something about Diana Ross.
I don't give a crap about no Boston donuts.
No. Well, I didn't know. No, Boston cream pie. A Boston cream pie. And it's really not a pie. It's more of a cake.
What are those moon pies?
No. Oh, wow, Diane. Man, I'm going to have to buy you a Boston cream pie. But I didn't get a Boston cream pie. I went to Chick-fil-A. I went to Chick-fil-A, Diane. Because Diane, when I'm talking to Diane, she'll be rolling up in the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A. And I didn't know that they served breakfast. And so Diane told me that they serve breakfast. So about a week ago, I ordered the breakfast from Chick-fil-A, and I got the chicken on a bagel. But because Diane didn't give me complete instructions, so I took it upon myself to get the chicken on a bagel. And then Diane said, no, get it on a biscuit. So today I got it on a biscuit. And then I went through the drive-thru.
Wasn't it good?
And I asked the lady for some sauce.
I told you there's a sauce policy.
Yo, they got a sauce policy.
Because of people like you and my husband.
They got a sauce policy. They rationing the sauce. Yo. See, Vincent, where's Eric going with this?
Here we go.
Because y'all are hoarders.
No, no. Now, I'll tell you, and, Amina will be on the show soon enough, but she keeps a baggie in the refrigerator. Now, see, when I grew up, we had the junk drawer, right? Every black family had the junk drawer. And in that junk drawer, you had everything.
In the refrigerator or in the
kitchen? No, in the kitchen. That middle drawer. You know the middle drawer by the sink. You had the junk drawer, right? You had tape. You had scissors. You had pliers. You had screwdrivers. You had some manuals. You had some old coupons. If you dug deep enough and you were on and you were collecting food stamps, you see a curled up food stamp in the back left hand corner. You understand what I'm saying? And then, wait a minute, and then,
No, we didn't waste food stamps. Sorry. It would not
you
be
knew
the
where
show.
every food stamp was.
Yes, right.
Yeah. But then you had the hot sauce packets, you had the ketchup packets, the mustard packet, you had the soy sauce packets, all in a junk drawer. Well, Amina doesn't. We have a junk drawer, and we've got
And not
everything.
with condiments.
No condiments in our junk drawer. She keeps them in the refrigerator.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, God bless it.
In a
We had the
baggie.
condiment junk drawer. We've got honey, ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, secret, barbecue. I mean, we've got every condiment available.
Yeah.
And
But see, but who collects them?
My wife.
See, Amina collects the ones that are in there, but the ones that I get from the store, I consume. I consume all of them. So I like the Polynesian sauce from Chick-fil-A. So whenever I go, and Diane, you and I went once, right? And I told her, give me a handful of it. And I dip everything in it. Everything in it. Everything in that Polynesian sauce. When I get my chicken from Costco, it goes in the Polynesian sauce.
So you just reserve your hoarding to a pot.
No. But it's not hoarding. See, it's not hoarding if you use it. It's only hoarding if you collect it. See, I use it.
Oh.
See, a hoarder is somebody who collects stuff, right? I don't collect it. I use it. So when I went there, I said to the young lady, I said, I'd like some sauce. So she looked at me and said, I didn't know. Firstly, all I know is the Polynesian sauce. I didn't know that they have a Chick-fil-A sauce. So when she said, well, we have a Chick-fil-A sauce, we got a honey mustard, we got a sweet and sour. Well, now that was too, you know me, Diane, too many choices. So now too many options. So I'm now starting to suffer anxiety in the drive-through because I've already jumped off. I jumped away from the bagel to the biscuit, right? So that was a change in my life. And so now I'm like, I just want a sauce, right? And so I'm like, okay, so can I just have the Polynesian sauce? So then she, instead of just giving me the Polynesian sauce, she goes, well, you might want to try the Chick-fil-A sauce. I mean, if you ask me, now I didn't ask her, but she said, if you ask me, it's the best one. So I'm like, okay, so give me a couple Chick-fil-A sauces. And then she said she could only give me one. So then,
The size that you ordered. Yep.
right. So now I'm looking at the size of the biscuit and chicken and the little freaking Chick-fil-A sauce. And I'm like, that won't even give me complete coverage over my biscuit. And then what if I wanted to dip twice? I mean, like, this is really going through my head while I'm standing in line. And I'm like, oh my God. So then she looks at me and she goes, well, I can only give you one of that. But I can give you a honey. I can give you, she gave me a Smucker's strawberry jelly, a grape jelly, and then a sweet and sour. So you could apparently get one of everything. You just can't get multiples of the same thing. So now,
Well, I think she cheated because that's not what the sheet says. But go ahead.
so she gave me.
She was helping you out because you was spazzing out.
Okay, so now I got one of everything.
I think she realized he was about to lose it too.
So I got one of everything, right? And so now I'm thinking, because remember yesterday we were talking about negotiating from a position of strength. So now I'm figuring I've got like 6 different six different sauces, but I only want multiples of one sauce. So I'm like, so I got 6. So can I trade up to get like 3 Polynesians for these 6 sauces? Can I give them back to you?
Okay, so stop. Did you trade up before you got all the sauces in hand?
No.
Or trade up after you had all the sauces?
No, she gave me everything and then sent me on my way, Diane. She had enough of me. And the line was growing behind me and people were blowing their horn. This is all real. I'm not making any of this up, you all.
Only you.
So then I get back to the bakery to pick Tyler up. And so Tyler catches an attitude with me, right? because he goes,
You
he
wanted
see,
Chick-fil-A.
well, he sees the Chick-fil-A bag in the car, and he goes,
Yeah.
"Yo, so you went to Chick-fil-A and you didn't tell me?" So then,
And
you know what I said?
Yeah, that is rude.
Wait, no,
That's
wait,
rude.
no, wait a minute. I said, Tyler, look in the
That's
bag.
like going
Did
to
two? No,
Popeyes and
I
you
said,
don't tell your wife.
nope. I said, Tyler, look in the bag. Did 2 sandwiches, and he went, "Oh,
Oh,
right."
what?
But no,
He didn't
thank.
say you're a good boss.
That's what I'm saying. No, thank
First
you.
first of all, Tyler is like 6'10". Why are you getting him one sandwich?
Oh, wait a minute, Diane. That's something else. That kid,
You are starving him.
no, Diane, listen, can I tell you?
Teasing him.
So Tyler inhaled that sandwich. Like when he took the first bite, I swore his second knuckle on his right hand, third finger was gone with the sandwich. He took such a huge bite. I was like, and I'm driving when he bit it. And I literally almost swerved because I was distracted. I'm like, yo, that sandwich isn't that big to take that kind of bite. He must have lost a finger. Nah, but
That's terrible.
but I did listen. I went to Restaurant Depot this morning, Diane. Look, at the bakery, I got the big industrial sized box of Oreo cookies. I got the box. Wait a minute. I got the big box of Cheetos. I've got the box of what are those? The Pringles. And then what else did I get him? Oh, and then he likes the Rice Krispie treats. So I got the 60 count Rice Krispie treats. Come on, Diane.
Lord.
And then
Let me tell you. That's
so,
terrible.
but you know what? Because they keep them shit. You know why I do it?
Junk food and sugar, so
That's
he could be working.
that's absolutely right. I keep them sugared up.
Keep him high on
I
sugar.
keep him and Bashir. I get Bashir some too. I say, hey, take one. He goes, oh, I got that one. I said, no, take another one then.
You think that Tyler can eat? Bashir can eat.
Can-
Bashir has been at the table, and him and my husband have gotten into it over the last bit of the food.
Oh,
and my
man.
husband would come upstairs and be like, "Are you kidding me, Bashir? Really? You ate it all of it, Bashir?"
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was my day with Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
That was my day.
Well, let me tell you, if you like Chick-fil-A, there's a place in the South, and it doesn't come further than North Carolina, maybe Virginia.
Uh-huh.
Biscuitville. OMG. Everything is made on a biscuit.
On a
They
biscuit.
open at 6 in the morning and close at 1 o'clock.
Where are they?
Biscuitville. It's in North Carolina, maybe in Virginia, maybe at the bottom half of Virginia, middle of Virginia, but not too much further.
What's the one?
Yeah,
What's
it's
the?
right next to the Waffle House?
What is the
They put
place that when I started
Biscuitville,
working?
they put
When I
ham
started,
on a biscuit, turkey on a biscuit, chicken on a biscuit. It's so good.
what is the
It's
place?
way better.
What's the place that because when I started working down in West Hampton, they have them down South Jersey.
Cracker Barrel?
Oh my God, Diane, Vincent.
Yeah.
I had to go get intervention. 'Cause
Yeah.
when I found out about Cracker Barrel, because I didn't know, I didn't know anything about it. But when I started working down in West Hampton, my staff, they said, I started working there, and customarily what I do is I always try to, if I don't have a large staff, I try to take them out, to lunch, right, to try to break the ice and all that kind of stuff. And so I asked them where they wanted to go, and they said Cracker Barrel. So I'm like, where? Oh, okay, whatever. So we get in the car and we go there, and they've got the rocking chairs on the porch, and they get the chess game. So look real country. So I walk in, and I'm the only black person walking in the Cracker Barrel, but that's a whole nother issue. But anyway, I'm looking at the menu. They got chicken fried steak and steak fried steak and the white
my gosh,
gravy and
so
the
good.
oh my God, and the dumplings and the
Oh,
oh my God. Listen, your arteries.
And when you come through the store, when you first come in, it's like a big store.
Yep.
Like a country store.
Yep.
You have to buy the apple butter on the way out. Oh my God, it's so good.
And then they have the old candies, like the Mary Janes, the Bitto honey, the squirrel
And it's
nuts.
candy. Mm-hmm. Yes. It's good.
But you
they
can-
have one up here that's in PA, right when you go over the bridge in Allentown.
Really?
Right by the casino. Only one up in this area. The closest one is Philadelphia off of
So how far
what
is the one that you just
Exit 4
mentioned?
No, exit 6 of the turnpike.
How far is the one you just mentioned that's up here?
As long as it takes you to get to PA, 40 minutes.
Oh, no, it's
Straight up 78. Oh, for you it's closer. 40 minutes for me, so take off 10 minutes, maybe 30 minutes for you.
Maybe I'll tell
But I
him.
don't know how long it takes you to get to 78. See, I'm right at 78.
Well, it depends on what I'm going to 78 for. Because, if I'm going to Cracker Barrel, man, I'm doing 90 miles an hour, so I'll get there quicker.
Yeah.
But just looking at the menu, you could clog your arteries.
I love Full House. So every time we go south, and of course, like Vincent said, they're like right near each other all the time. We're always fighting over which one we're going to first because he likes to sit in the Waffle House to eat. I like to sit in the car and eat from Waffle House. But Cracker Barrel, I like to eat inside Cracker Barrel, and he won't go inside Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. Well, Cracker Barrel, it almost has the feeling like they want to fly a Confederate flag in there.
I mean, the name Cracker itself is intimidating.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. But those dumplings, oh my gosh. Anyway, listen.
Not to mention them old Southern style rocking chairs that they have out there.
Oh, I love those.
That big checker game.
But can I ask you a question? And I'm gonna get in trouble for this. I'm gonna get in trouble for it. Why do you have people who are morbidly obese? They're the ones that occupy the Cracker Barrel. So when I would go,
oh God, here we go.
But when I would go, you see it, and they gotta push the table away from them to sit down, and you're like, yo, and I'm not making it up. And I'm like, wait a minute, come on. And then when you see them order, they got like 3 entrees. And I'm like, there's only one person at the table.
Wait a minute, where are you talking about? Ponderosa?
No, Cracker Barrel. Well, everywhere. Even at the all you can eat place.
Have you been to Ponderosa before?
No, where's Ponderosa?
Ponderosa is in the South. They had one in South Jersey. I don't know if it's still in the Philadelphia area. Ponderosa is like a buffet. And it's like a kitchen style buffet.
Diane, yeah.
So you walk up to it and you can eat any and everything. It is so much food that you have to try everything. Have to. They got roast beef with the jelly and oh my God, the food is so good. Fried chicken. They got fried okra.
Oh, somebody said there are 3 of them in New Jersey.
Yes, there are.
Oh well. Wait. No need to tell me because I'm not ever eating at all you can eat anyway, especially now during Corona. But yeah, they're good. They're really good. Mm-hmm. That's a good place. And they used to have a place in North Carolina called Apple House, which is similar to that, like family style, cafeteria style is what they call it.
Right.
So you walk down like a cafeteria and the food, oh my God, the food is so good.
There was a place in Saddlebrook. I don't know if they're still there. It's a buffet, all you can eat, right? And the actual name is called the Dynasty. But the letters light up, and some of the letters were, the bulb was blown out. So it read Die Nasty. And so we would go there for lunch. And then when the kids were little, I used to take them there for dinner. They had a different dinner menu. But you want to please a kid, you take them to some place like that. Because you just pay the one price and you just sit down. So especially if you got that bratty kid who can't figure out what to choose off the menu, they can have everything.
Oh, God.
They can have everything.
My cousin, we used to go through the drive-through McDonald's. I don't want ketchup on it. I don't want
See,
this.
there you go.
I don't want this. And I used to be sitting there thinking, like, can we just tell them can we just take it and take it off and wipe it off? No.
Yeah,
they
but
had to prepare it with nothing on it. I was like,
but the Dynasty was amazing. They actually had a what do you call it, a grilling section, right? Where it's you could order. I think they had 3 different cuts of like steak. Then they had a sushi bar. They had like a seafood section where they were shucking clams on a half shell, and I mean it was an upscale in Saddlebrook.
That sounds like the place that's up in what is that? Up in New York by the casino. No. Mohegan Sun. Up going towards that place is a place Nordic something like that lodge. When you just go up there and they have busloads of people that just come there just to eat, and they have the carving station, the seafood station.
They got all of that. They got all of that.
So much food. Literally, you can't eat anything because you're like overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You're literally overwhelmed.
So, it's called the Dynasty or Dynasty. But
Well, we know who else is overwhelmed this morning.
Oh.
Joe McCullough.
Oh, Joe. Oh, Joe. So we called it.
Talk about die nasty.
Yeah, he dying nasty. Oh, you know what? There you go. That sounds like a movie for Big Joe McCullum, right? Die nasty. Wait.
What was that show? Oh, the Godfather of New York.
Yeah.
How he treated dude who raped his daughter.
Oh, yeah. You say to Joe McCullum, die nasty or don't die at all. That should be the subtitle, right? But listen, we called it. We asked the question. We said, who's calling for his resignation? We asked that question on the Eric Dawson show, right? Yesterday, we asked that question. And, people say that that folks from South Jersey all the way up North Jersey tune in at some point or another to the show, or they know people and people get back to them about stuff. Because we always say stuff, and then like the next day, they do it.
It circulates.
So
We're like the prophecies. That's what it is.
Prophesizing?
We should change the show's name to Prophets.
Yo, the three prophets.
The three prophets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
far we're like 82% accurate.
yeah,
So
listen.
what happened with Joe? What's today's news?
The headline in Tappin' 2. But you know what? See, and I got to say this about Tappin'. I got to say this about Tappin' 2 though. All right, we just got to keep it real. Tappin' 2 has been co-opted, right?
It's co-opted from the beginning because it's politically owned.
Right. So Tappin' 2, some folks decided that they were going to write content in order to build an audience so that they could at some point drive a narrative to help candidates win elections.
Absolutely.
Right? So we just being honest, right? And so Tappin' 2, and then they started selling like franchises, right? So
Franchising it off.
Yeah, franchising off, so you can get it. But what's in there? It's like it's a hatchet job that they do based on who they like and who they don't like, and who's willing to buy advertising and all that other kind of stuff. So, so that's the disclaimer about Tappin' 2. But anyway, the hack that it is, right? They decided for whatever reason, usually a phone call, to write an article praising, to some extent, Mayor Ras Baraka so maybe they're trying to get on his good side, because I know during the 2018 election, they were really not on his good side. No, they weren't.
Well, I don't know. That's hard to say.
No, they weren't. And then they weren't on his good side. They were not on his good.
From NJ.com, so it's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, but they weren't on his good side, Diane, in 2018 election.
Right.
And then they were not on his good side when they were reporting about the water. Remember that? I mean, they were hammering him about the water.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, they didn't have a choice. It was very loud.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
So apparently, Ras Baraka has called for Joe McCullum's resignation. Kind of. So what he says is, if you did these things, then you should step down. So he knows that he did them. He knows he did them because there were people who came to his office and told him that he was holding up their vouchers. See, I didn't want to say that yesterday. So don't play coy, Mayor. You know. So when it happened, see, you forced me to do this. I don't want to do it. But when they came to you, when the developers came to you and said that they were being chicken winged by Joe and Malik, instead of you being the leader and leading from in front, right, and calling out the corruption, right, you didn't. And now you know that he was being corrupt. And you
So
know.
do you think because he knew he counter offered with the contractor?
Wow.
You know, I don't know. You know what? See, I gotta say this, and Lord knows how I feel about the administration, and just But
Eric, all of New Jersey knows how you feel about the
right.
administration.
But with this particular thing, there may be people around Raz that are doing these things. I'm not convinced anymore that he himself is participating. So I don't know whether, so it's hard for me to understand it though, right? So all this stuff is happening around him. And so either he's too dense to see it, right? Like too just not bright, right? To see it, or that like distorted understanding of what loyalty is, right? Has him not being able to say anything because then he won't be loyal, right? But whatever it is just not a good look, right? So, step up, man up, be a leader. That's what you want to do, right? You said when you became mayor that all of the citizens of Newark became mayors. So when you knew about this corruption, right? You didn't invite all of the other mayors to participate in outing Joe McCollum, right? You took that information, held it close to your vest until the feds finally did something. And now you want to run to the front of the line, much like that video of Trump. You remember that video when Trump was walking out with all the other leaders, and then the one guy was in front of him, and he grabbed the guy, pushed him to the side, and stepped in front. That's what you're doing now, right? Right? So, no, you should have done it when you first got whiff of the stink in Joe McCollum's office. But you didn't do it then. And so I look and go, it's a real character issue for me, right? It's just something.
So my question to you is, what is McCollum, he's asking him to step down, the mayor's now asking him to step down. Should his staff be fired?
Well, so his staff goes if he goes, right? So his staff may not have had anything to do with it. And so they're just collateral damage in this. Maybe. I don't know. But
does not the staff have a level of culpability?
No. Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. No, not at all. If you know how council staff works in the city of Newark, Joe McCollum could be going and meeting with somebody and look.
And the staff doesn't know anything
because
about
understand.
deniability.
Well, because understand, most of the staff, you know what they engage in? They engage in constituent services kind of stuff, right? They field phone calls about my garbage didn't get picked up, or there's an abandoned car on my street, or there's a dead tree and I've been asking somebody to come and cut it down, and or other people calling about their utilities being cut off, asking if they can figure out how to get some sort of a grant to pay for. Those are the kinds of things that they're inundated with on a daily basis. And so Joe McCollum, could kind of skulk around and be the slimy guy he is, shaking down developers without those folks even knowing. It's possible. And so, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, and say, for right now at least, and say that they didn't know. And so it's a shame that that they will wind up losing their job, right? So he's got a chief of staff. Now the chief of staff might know. His chief of staff might know. But that's like a $70,000 or $80,000 job the person's gonna lose, right? Plus all of the great benefits, health benefits that the city offers. And then they're like, I think, $265,000 salaries. I think each council person gets 5 positions,
Yep, five,
right?
five.
And then the council president gets 6. Right, which is all I got to tell you, and I mean
Ridiculous
it
amount.
is all ridiculous, right? Because the council in Newark is a part-time job, right? It's listed as a part-time job, and most of the council members in Newark have a full-time job. So like John James works for the county, making $100 and some thousand a year, and then he works for the city of Newark part-time, making almost $100,000 a year, and he has a staff of 5 people who help him with his part-time job.
Correction. He doesn't work part-time. He receives a part-time check. They don't work. They really don't. Let's be honest. But even in regards to that, what I've noticed and what I've learned in politics is there's always more than one council person that knows what's going on and is in on the deal. There's always a pair of them working.
Well, Diane, but we know they knew. Look, no, but we know. But we know they know. Well, look, we know they know how. Because when the developer doesn't get his or her vouchers, in this case, right, and their project's not being pushed through, Joe McCollum is only 1 vote. Hello. See, when that goes before, and Joe McCollum can tell you, I'm not voting for it, and you believe that when he says he's not voting for it, it's not going to pass. Well, if there are 9 council people, why would you give a shit about just his vote? So, see, when Joe McCollum says, I'm not voting for it, what he means, I'm going to give you the translation. I'm not supporting it. I'm going to go talk to my colleagues and tell my colleagues not to support it. Now, why would, if Vincent was one of my colleagues on the council and Diane was a straight shooter and a colleague of mine on the council, and Jody, for instance, came with a project, and then I go to Diane and I go to Vincent and I say to them as colleagues on the council with me, I'm not going to support that project. If they're straight shooters, they'd be asking me why. Right?
Exactly.
Well, what is wrong?
You would have to plead your case as to why it doesn't benefit the city, not just the ward, but the entire city, because everybody's only concentrated on their particular area. You're right.
Right. And so now, whatever reason Joe gave them, right, led him to believe that they weren't going to be in support of the project either. So now when Joe went with his chest out, buttons popping off his shirt, and said, can you see the image? Right, just popping off.
Yes.
And going to the developer saying, no, that's not going to happen. He had full confidence that he had persuaded his colleagues, whoever those colleagues are. Now, in the indictment, there's one listed, right? Another person. They didn't give the name, but there's another
co-conspirator.
There we go.
Now, let's see. I didn't go to check the board of directors on Invest North, but if there's another council person on Invest North, boom, that's the person right there. Or if there's another affiliation for an aide that sits on the Invest North with him that represents another council person, that would be the other co-conspirator. That's easy to figure out.
Whoop, right. There it is.
Whoop, there it is. But see, now the other thing is when you're talking about he would have to convince the rest of them, everybody's not going to be swayed by just the conversation. Some of them are going to have to be swayed by greasing their palms.
Oh,
Because we already know there's some other ones on there that are slimy too.
It's what's in it for me.
But not only that, so even if, and I don't know if the particular incident that they're talking about actually came to the council for a vote and they voted it down, or he told them and it never came to a vote, then there could be some evidence there also. But even so, the application of the contractor to go to City Hall to apply and then go to him is a paper trail, because that means that the departments are in on it too. Because why would you deny a permit of any sort unless the council person had a conversation with you about that particular project?
Well,
So
again,
there's a lot of hands
But
that
that's
are
the shakedown. But that is the shakedown. That developers, contractors, people who want to be on their purchasing list, that's the shakedown that they get. That's the greasing of the palms. And when I think developers...
But the whole point of the bid process is to eliminate all of that. And if contractors stuck to that as their power, they wouldn't have to grease anybody's palms, because they would go by the letter of the law, and then they could fight it that way. There's been plenty of contractors that have pushed back and be like, no, I'm not doing that. And it has to follow the process. And then if it gets denied, they end up in lawsuits with the city. It's happened before.
Or it ends up with a federal investigation, which is what we're experiencing. You shake down the right...
I don't think the shakedown led to a federal investigation. I think his co-conspirator that set up this mock consultant agency, like so many in Union County and Essex County have done, think that they can get away with what the last person couldn't get away with. And they cocky. Criminals are cocky.
well,
That's
you know, the thought
And
always.
here's another side to that, Diane, to add to what you're saying. A lot of things that happen with these federal investigations and these shakedowns are black people trying to get away with what white people have historically been getting away with.
Yeah, and you know, well, the idea.
Let me give you an example. The city of Philadelphia, where I'm from, has experienced a great deal of corrupt mayors. One mayor even bragged that he got a gold door knocker on his Chestnut Hill, which is a very high dollar or high end property market. He got a gold door knocker put on his door, and everybody knew that he was shaking down contracts. Everybody knew that. But then once they started getting black mayors in, all of a sudden these federal investigations started popping up. And the same thing that the white mayors and council people were doing, the blacks were going to jail for.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't doubt that. But I think that when they look and they get inside, their belief is that they're smarter than the other person who got caught. Right? And that,
that's true.
if
I was Joe McCullen, I'm writing everybody out, and everybody's going down with me. Everybody, from the top to the bottom. Everybody, janitor included. Everybody going.
Henceforth, one of the pillars of loyalty.
There is no loyalty among thieves.
Hey, listen. Yeah. Now, when Joe's sitting there in jail, I'm thinking about that scene in The Godfather. Remember when they went and paid him a visit, and because they were concerned that he might rat him out,
right?
And they brought his brother from Italy into the courtroom, and they said,
the message that says that we can touch your family.
Yeah, so
Yeah. See,
or we could take care of your family, right? Or we could, or we could take care of your family. I mean, I don't mean take care of them, in a negative way. I mean, take care of them, so they can get jobs, they can get whatever, So you go ahead and eat this one, Joe, and I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Anyway.
based upon four pillars. One is honor, someone who is truly honorable, and they believe in the principles and processes, and they're stuck, and they are loyal to the concept of idealism in which the corporate or country's mantra stands on. The other pillar of case in point, all of the true loyal patriots in the military and in the ambassadorships that stood up against Trump in his impeachment hearing. They were loyal to the country. The second pillar of loyalty is financial. You are loyal to the money that they bring in. So as long as that person is continuing to pay you a comfortable income, you are down with the process. The other pillar of loyalty is fear of repercussions if you turn on them. So when the feds come in, they break down or try to break down one of those pillars of loyalty. And a three-legged table, when one leg is gone, it falls.
We'll see what happens. So, look, the mayor.
The debate, yay!
Oh yeah. So the mayor wished him good luck. I don't wish him good luck. I think that he needs to pay for whatever he did.
Well, couldn't happen to a better guy.
Yeah, couldn't happen to a better guy. So the debate last night. So I was exhausted. I got home and I fell asleep at the foot of the bed at around 8:30. I was trying to stay up, and the next thing you know, in my dream, I'm hearing Joe Biden and Donald Trump debating, like in my dream, right? So I'm like, yo, what's going on? And then I realized it, and I woke myself up. So I got to listen to it. I didn't open my eyes, but I got to listen to it. I gotta tell you, I thought that it was well done. I thought the format was well done.
Well, I think Trump was tranquilized with a horse tranquilizer. It's scary that he was so calm, to the point that he had started to roll his eyes because he wanted to say something and interrupt so bad, but would not. What they stated on CNN is both of them actually listened to their coaches. Biden did not jump in except for maybe 2 times to actually answer a question of Trump's as opposed to the question from the moderator.
Mm-hmm.
But it was relatively calm.
Yeah.
But there was highlights to it.
No, and and I think that the idea, at least given how close it is, because we're 11 days away, right? So it was just don't screw up. Don't give the other side anything to use as ammunition against you, right? Hold the line, hold your base, and then we'll play these next 11 days out in the media, spinning whatever our narrative is and doing that kind of stuff. So that seemed to be the strategy on both sides.
Right.
I bet the Trump campaign spent a lot of money to make sure that there are no more flies in the building.
Well, Trump tried to egg Biden on 11 times before he was able to get him to bite in regards to the financial situation of him taking money from other countries. He didn't mention his son's name.
Who built the cages, Joe? Who built the cages, Joe? Who built the cages?
Who built the cage? Who built the cage? He did. He was good on that. He was very good on that. What else did he do? I had to go back to my notes, but go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a very good line for him, right? To jam him up on who built the cages, and Joe never answered the question because he couldn't answer the question. I mean, he could answer it, but it would have been damning for him to answer it. But I thought that Joe Biden,
He answered the question. He said, Biden said, no, we put the cages in for the dangerous offenders that we exported. That's why they call Barack the exporter in chief.
No, that's not what he said. He said
no, but wait a minute.
For those purposes, those cages were not built and designed for that. That's what Biden said.
And then when Trump kept pressuring him, he told him, no, we built the cages for those. He said, that was not what we purposed it for. What you did was separate over 500 families that we can't find a family to these children for as a deterrent.
Yeah. So that was a telling moment as well for
And I think that Biden could have expressed a little more because Trump kept talking about the economy. That Obama even dispelled that myth. He said, no, you messed up an economy that you inherited.
yeah. We got a caller. Caller, go.
So my intention was to call and apologize for me dropping the F-bomb about 18 times yesterday. That was my intention. But Vincent, you lied again. Joe never answered that question. He never answered the you built the cages, Joe. He just kept being quiet about it. So you've heard that somewhere, I'm sure.
No.
That he never answered that question, right? And Vincent, I taped it and watched it again just for this conversation today. I wanted to be well on point for you and not for anyone else, but to check you on your lies. Okay? He never answered that question. He just twisted up his lips. He twirled, and I'm not getting at Joe. I'm just saying, Eric was right. He never answered that question. He just, which was very smart in the space in which he was dealing with, because there is no answer for that question. Because who built the cages, Joe?
He did, he
never answered that question.
Jody, even as Diane stated, he said we didn't build it for that purpose.
Yeah, but you didn't say that. You said that he said that we didn't build them for that purpose. We built them for this purpose. But we don't have to go back and forth with that because
But does that not answer who built the cages?
No, you answered who built the cages. He just said what Diane said, which was we didn't build them for that purpose. You took that and said, no, he did answer the question, Eric. He said we didn't build those cages for that. We built them for this, that. And he did.
And that's what he said.
If he had said that, if he had said the reasons why they built the cages as opposed to we built them for something else, then that would have been an extended conversation that could have gotten him in trouble. But I don't want to go back and forth with that. What I thought was interesting, Eric, was I felt like Joe Biden did make a mistake on the oil.
Yes, he made a big mistake. He made a big mistake.
Bad.
He made a huge mistake.
Well, yeah.
Well, I have to say that one of the things that we talked about on the show yesterday and is that, okay, people will respect him if he tells the truth. And he did tell the truth. And the only reason and the only thing that he actually lost was some corporation big dollars, which more than likely he hasn't gotten from the oil company.
No, he didn't just lose that. He lost all of those families.
All of those families who've been using who have been making money off of fossil fuels, like Texas and Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he also talked about repurposing positions. He said that we could make more money and get more jobs using clean energy sources rather than fracking and fossil fuels.
No. He supported fracking.
He said he's not going to bring in any new fracking.
No, lies. He said he did not approve fracking on government property, is what he said.
Yeah.
That's what he said exactly.
Yeah. So, but he also, on the last debate, said that no, we're not going to have any new fracking.
Yeah, but then before that, he said that he was.
But he did say we would like to take the ones that we have and extract the carbon and the gases from them that can be used.
Okay, so we can agree that Joe has has explained his position on fracking 3 different ways, right?
Yes.
Right. So people are confused about that now, I think. But I think that, listen, and I'll get on both of them. I know Jody doesn't think equally, right? But I think that
We've been doing better lately. Huh?
I
Not
think
fair.
that Joe Biden did as well as Joe Biden can do in the debate last night.
I'd have to agree with that.
Yeah, I was impressed for Joe Biden last night. I think that he kept his energy up for the entire debate. I think that, he kind of gave as good as he got. He took some
Yeah.
punches. He gave some punches. There were a couple of really good points that Joe Biden had, with regard to Donald Trump attacking him on justice reform, right? So when Donald Trump talked about, you just gotta love it. Donald Trump said, "I done more for black people than anybody." Yo,
And Joe called him Abraham Lincoln.
yo, he was like, I think that, like, he said, let's just shut this thing down. I done more for black people and Hispanics than anybody else.
No, Donald Trump has done more for the African American community than any.
I was just like, oh my goodness. But then, Biden absorbed that, and then he came back, and then he started talking about, the number of people that were released from prison under the Obama administration, and Donald Trump didn't have a response for that,
Yeah,
because that was
and that was
a real number. That was a real number, right?
Because Donald Trump only released 20 prisoners.
Right. So that was a real number. And like, I don't know, Donald Trump opened up that can of worms, but and then Joe Biden hit him with it, and he didn't have a response for it. So it was entertaining, for sure for me. But
the only thing that Donald Trump did was continue on with the same lie, even though Joe was shooting him down. He kept saying, "Well, no, nobody has done more," and Joe just kept shooting that down. And so I think Joe just got frustrated and just shut up.
well. Trump also said, "I'm the least racist."
oh, yo, wait, Diane, wait. That's not the funniest part of that was when he said, "It's dark in here, so I can't tell who's in here." He said, "I can't tell who's in here, but irrespective, I'm the least racist person." I said,
In this room.
yeah,
I'm gonna go Trump.
I can't tell who all's in the room, but
it don't matter, because I'm the least racist person. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you know what? I always try to give something, before I rail on Donald Trump, right? So I always have to point out Joe's little stuff that he does, right? But so now I'm gonna get serious and be my little stand on my soapbox girl, right? It doesn't really matter what happened last night. Once he said that the coyotes brought the babies across the line, and I tell you, I was livid. When I say I lost all sensibility, I had to rewind it and say, did he just say the coyotes? But you didn't even really have to rewind it, because he didn't care. I don't even think Trump, is in this world with us, because he repeated it several times.
Yeah. No,
like
I got better joke. He had everybody guessing, well, is coyotes a group or something? Like, what the hell is he talking about? Because I was in the middle of texting that, and I was like, coyotes? Why am I texting coyotes? Like, what is coyotes? I'm like, is that another group of his?
No, that's what they call. That's
Donald Trump's distraction.
Yeah.
No. But that's what they call the.
That's how he sees when they say, how does he see you, right? So that's how he sees in his mind, because, we can't even say where they were coming from, because they were coming from all sorts of places. But let's just say that's how he sees Hispanics from other countries.
From Mexico.
That they would sit, right? That they would sit their babies on the back of a coyote.
And send
Or
them.
give them to a
No.
truck
No, he
stop.
didn't. No. That's coyote is a term that's used to describe a a bandit or a lawbreaker, right?
I would rather him mean
Well,
this
that's
than
why I said. That's why I was like, "What the hell is a coyote?"
Yeah, that's it. That yeah. So he didn't literally mean like the animal.
You
Like
know I thought he meant a coyote, right? Because that was Trump standing up there. I didn't Google it. I didn't try to figure it out. I was like, look how he sees the Mexican. Look how he sees a Hispanic from another country. But even that, right, is to say that you don't care about your children, that you just handed your baby off and sent them off into the desert with whomever. To me, that was like scary and indicative of who Trump is as a human being.
yeah.
And
So
how
so I actually
people
Googled
go
it,
out-
right? So what it means is this it's meant so two definitions, right? The literal definition, a wild dog that resembles a wolf, but the definition that Donald Trump and I really believe. That this is where he was going. It's a person who smuggles Latin Americans across the U.S. border, typically for high fees. So,
Gotcha.
Right.
Looked it up.
The reason he said it was to actually dehumanize the children that came there, because he's saying that those parents had already sold them to these bandits so that they could sneak across America, which is not true.
How do you come up with definitions after a definition is given? That's so weird.
Oh, Lord.
So the other thing that Biden that was said was Biden said you should not go to jail for drugs or alcohol problems. You should be in rehab. Trump said, "Well, why haven't you gotten it done?"
Talking about his son.
Talking about everybody in general.
no, I think that was I think Vincent's right. I think that was like a subtle dig that like his son. Like, yo, you got this issue at home. Yo, you talking about what you gonna do for the nation. You can't handle your business, and your business is so sloppy in the street with your son, and you sitting here on national television talking about what you gonna do for everybody else. I agree with Vincent. I think that was like, and it went over a lot of people's heads, but I think Joe got it, and I think that Donald hit the mark with him on that. It was personal. It was real personal. Yeah.
It was. But let's look at it.
Diane, we missed that one with that one.
Were you guys really drinking?
Yeah, I was drinking.
Yeah.
I was sweating. It was all kinds of stuff going on.
Oh, yeah. But
The other thing
I
that was
honestly, to be very honest, I didn't get as tipsy as I did the last time because he was very animated the last time. So this was kind of like, a watered down version of Trump. So, I had a couple of sips. Actually, me and my nephew did a Zoom meeting, and he had his Maker's scotch, which I can't play with, liquor, and I had my wine, and he was like, so we had said what Diane said. I said, listen, Diane said every time he says Hunter, you take a shot. He was like, okay, and by midway, he was like, just take a shot on Jody. He wouldn't say his name.
he wouldn't say his name, but he mentioned it. Mm-hmm. The other thing that the moderators talked about was the talk, and I'm using air quotes, the talk. And I said to myself, to Facebook, let's hear these white privileged people tell us about why we discriminated against. And Biden tried to give a synopsis of an example of we don't have the same problems. If we got pulled over and we don't have to be afraid and this, that, and the other, okay. And then Trump just went off in a tangent and talked about some other shit.
Oh, what I thought that was, but listen to how they framed it, right? She said, now again, I was in and out of consciousness because, my eyes were closed. I was on the edge of the bed trying to, stay awake. But she asked the question almost, I think it was something like this. What would you say? No, like, what would you say? Did she say it like that? What would you say to black families, or do you understand, right? Like, and I was.
You were right. She said, what would you say to those families that have to basically have those conversations with their children?
And my thing is, you know what? Here's the honest answer. So you want honest Abe and you want honest Joe. The thing is, I don't know what to say to them. That's what you say. I, as a white man up here of privilege, of great privilege, I have no idea what to say to them. And then just step off. Right? But to your point, Diane, because they bask in their white privilege, like they soak in it, like, that they now believe that they could wax on about what to say to me. You can't say shit to me. Nothing. You understand what I'm saying? And then they don't, but because of their absolute arrogance, right? They believe they can muster up something that makes sense to me. You can't muster up anything. You have no idea. You are so far removed. But hey, Joe, you've been there for 40 some.
Who do you think won?
You know what? I don't think there was a loser, right? So it wasn't about who was gonna win it. The question I think last night was just don't lose it, and I don't think anybody lost it.
Right.
I think that's what everybody did. They played it safe so that they didn't lose it.
Yeah.
But one of the analysts said for Donald Trump, he has to hit a home run. Joe Biden just has to make a single.
I disagree with that. I think that.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
I
Yeah.
think they're both here and they're both teetering, and that's why they stayed on script last night, because they know from that first debate and everything that has transpired before that people are paying more attention to hear what they're going to actually say. Not that they're going to believe what they say, but to hear how they're going to say it. Because people were very turned off from the last debate of him, Trump carrying on and over talking and all that. That just immediately brought you back to when he was intimidating Hillary Clinton, walking behind her while he was answering questions. So that was definitely a turnoff. But another thing that they touched upon was living under the coronavirus pandemic. And Biden went on to say that any president that was in charge, any person that was in charge under this pandemic should not be president.
That was a big hit for him too. But
I think one of the greatest biting lines was when Trump said we're living with it, and he said no, we're dying with it.
We're dying with it.
I thought that was heavy. But Trump does continue to play it down as if it's really, he's still willing to say it's around in the corner. They're coming around the bend.
As Biden said, he's turning the bend.
And I think it's so apropos that Trump would come on and say, well, I had it, and I'm now immune. They said I'm immune.
Yes, he did.
I said to this man, this is effing crazy. I'm immune. I've had it. My son had it. He's over it. We're good.
Consider yourself fortunate, but there are over 220,000 people who were not that lucky.
But that's the whole point. For him to stand on his pedestal and say, I got it over it. I was done in a couple of days, because he has access to stuff that other people will never have access to.
Correct.
Absolutely.
An experimental drug that's not even on the emergency list.
Whatever.
A team of the best physicians in the world. And an entire floor of a hospital shut down while he's in it.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. He has access that other people will never get. Absolutely, including Chris Christie, because Chris Christie didn't get that same type of access because it took him a week, and then he came out and said he was wrong. We should be wearing masks. I was wrong for not doing this at the last gathering. I was wrong, because he gets it now. Now he gets it. Yeah.
But did anybody get anything of substance in terms of the next administration under Donald Trump from the debate?
It's going to be the same. It will be the same. So we already know that. It's going to be the same and or worse. They also talked about, so we talked about immigration. They talked about the corona. They talked about the foreign policy. There was a question in the foreign policy that they never freaking answered. Nobody answered it. They just went on as it did not exist. I'm going back to, what was the question? Oh, what would you do to end foreign election interference? Neither of them answered the question.
Well, for Joe, he didn't have to.
Well, he did because it was a question posed by the moderator. What would you do to end foreign interference elections?
Well, no, he did say this, that one of the big things that Russia does not. Well, I'm paraphrasing, and this is not his words exactly. Is that we deal with people who interfere in American affairs. And he did say that, and paraphrasing, one of the big things that Russia never pulled that crap out of the Biden administration because they had fear of Obama and Biden administration because they had fear of the repercussions, which was well documented.
I don't think there was any fear with Obama and Biden. I think it was a relationship of being able to communicate. The communication lines were much better and different, and they received it differently from Biden and Obama. I think clearly that's all it was. They did not test him, either one of them, because them together kind of laid the law as to how we're going to move forward in the world. It had nothing to do with fear.
Well,
Yeah, I took it as they were saying that.
They did have that.
I'm sorry, Vincent, go ahead.
They did have that one incident when Putin came into the office and Obama had declassified a file to show Putin that he knew exactly what he was doing. And then from that point, I think that laid the ground rule of okay, we're going to respect each other in our positions.
And I took it that Joe Biden was kind of saying that they wouldn't meet with them because they preempted that meeting with we're only going to discuss this. And so because they were only going to discuss this, the denuclearization or whatever, that then they didn't want to meet because that wasn't really what was on their plate. But I didn't take it as a fear either. What was he going to do, beat him? Like, I just think that, I think anybody would like to meet Donald Trump. I would. Like, I would like to meet Donald Trump just to have that weirded out, funny conversation with this dude. I think everyone wanted to meet him. And here's the truth, right? I'm going to miss him. I don't mind saying it.
I'm going to miss him like a two-face.
You know what? He said it at a rally last week, and that's like the first time I seen him tell the truth. He was like, "Listen, if Joe Biden gets in, you're gonna be so bored." Yeah, he's like, politics will never be the same again after me. And absolutely right. Like, we're gonna miss that dude.
Well, listen, not only are you going to miss him, but look, all of the news organizations, they're going to miss him. I mean, they're going to have to cut their staffs. I mean, think about all of the
fact checkers.
Yeah, all of the fact check. I mean, it's going to have a big bearing on the economy. Yeah, you're gonna see a major job loss that they're gonna attach to the Biden administration, right? They're gonna say in the first quarter jobs dropped by.
Well, listen, if I can get back to a world without wearing a mask, I will deal with missing Donald Trump. If I can get back to a world where cops are not shooting black kids at an alarming rate because they know that they could get away with it.
Wait a minute. Nah.
We've never been there. We've never been there. Get back to a time when
Okay. Well, let's get back to a world where there's not so many police shootings. Okay, if I could get back to a world where, you know what, Proud Boys and other races, white supremacy groups are not as emboldened with their recruiting, I would love that too. If I could get back to a world where, you know what, I can just take my family out to dinner.
So you want to get? So you want them to? Right. So no. So Vincent wants to get rocked back. Listen. You know what? You know what Vincent wants to do? Listen, Vincent wants to get plugged back into the Matrix. Wait. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like
I'm sitting up here right now. Why didn't everybody take the blue pill?
Right. It's like Vincent wants to get plugged back into the Matrix. Remember the guy said, "Listen, I can't take this anymore." He said, "Just plug me back in, make me somebody important." So So the world doesn't change. The world's still screwed up. I just don't know it anymore. So
There you go.
yeah.
And then he ate that steak and he said, "See, that's why ignorance is bliss."
That's actually right.
So they got hospitals and entire wards for people like you that
Look,
think like that.
look. I think that Donald Trump. I think that Donald Trump has been. Look, I think that Donald Trump provided for black people if they dare to heed the call. He provided for black people a wake up call to say, yo, it is everything that you were America is everything that you were told it is, that you refuse to believe because of the level of comfort that you thought you had, right? And so if we heed the call and stand fast, we could at some point maybe have a different life for our unborn here in America, right? But my fear is exactly what Vincent just outlined, right? That a Joe Biden, that moderate white person that Dr. King warned us of, is just going to rock Black America back to sleep. And so, for all of the things, and this is why, Jody, I said to you that Donald Trump is easy to talk about because he's right out there, right? He's just like right out there. The hard thing is this relationship with this moderate white man that's gonna rock us back to sleep, right? That because of our Stockholm syndrome, we're just so eager to jump back into bed with the abuser, right? And say, you know what, comfort me. And I'm saying, no, we need to be, in order for us to do the thing that we need to do, we need to be uncomfortable.
Well, yeah. Well, and
to talk about the pandemic, and he talked about businesses being closed, and he said, and I quote, "If you go and look at what happened to New York, it's a ghost town. It's a ghost town." I don't know why he repeats stuff all the time. That's so annoying. Trump said when
That's advertising now.
When you talk about plexiglass, these are restaurants that are dying. These are businesses with no money putting up plexiglass. It's unbelievable expense, and it's not the answer. What you're going to sit there, you're going to sit there in a cubicle wrapped around in plastic. So the thing with Trump is, he'll say, what do you say, Eric? The clock strikes twice.
A broken clock is right twice a day. That's right. But you know what though? Did you hear what Cuomo's now about to open up? So see, here's the interesting thing, right? So you have over here, and remember what I said to you, that where you blame Donald Trump, and I say to you that governors have culpability, right? Because they have power. And right now, Cuomo is exercising his power and is saying he's about to open up more restaurants, open up movie theaters, open up some other things in New York, right? Because what Donald Trump said is correct. I think the number was 35. Was it more than 35,000 restaurants are gone, obliterated?
35,000, yeah, and 350,000 small businesses that are closed.
Obliterated. And so when he says it's a ghost town, he's not lying about that, right? So there's got to be somebody championing in a smart way. But I don't know, but I think that Joe Biden, because his narrative has to be to pound away at Donald Trump for the pandemic, right?
What I get out of that statement about that Donald Trump made was basically he was fostering his theory of herd immunity. Get out there, get sick, and get immune.
Well,
and to answer to the other point in which you said, one thing that Donald Trump did, especially with this virus, has let black people know that we have let our foot off the gas in terms of fighting for our rights, fighting against injustice. And with this president, I don't think that if Biden is elected, it's going to lull black people into a false sense of security. I think that, no, we are going to hold him accountable to the things in which he said he was going to do. I think that time of reckoning for the abused spouse to get out of that Stockholm syndrome and say, no, I'm leaving your A, and finding someone who is better suited, who can love them the way that they need to be, is what is upon us. And that's what black people are now negotiating and reckoning to happen.
They're not negotiating. Stop. They're not negotiating. So I got mad at Ice Cube and said, he don't represent us. Who that N-word boy? He can't tell us. He just got involved. So ain't nobody negotiating for us. So let's backtrack that. That ain't
okay.
happening.
Well, nobody is negotiating for us that black people in a consensus will actually say it's negotiating for us, because everybody that steps up says that or steps to the president that asks or requests or comes up with any plan, there is always that division of black people who say, who is that? I don't know who they are, and how are they representing me when they never spoke to me?
Wait, no,
So
but see here, we gotta stop using the word negotiate when it comes to black people and the corporation of white supremacy. Okay.
And say demand?
No.
Why?
We just got because can an ant negotiate with a boot? No. Why? Because the ant has no power, is not operating from any strength at all, cannot negotiate. So when we use terms, we got to be, how do we negotiate when we've got no money, we've got no political power, we've got nothing? You can't negotiate. We sit there and we let our lips move, right? That's it. That's all that's happening. And we call it negotiating, but at the end of the day, the people who have the power, when they get up from the table, right? You know what they say? Know what they say? They say exactly what they did with Ice Cube, right? They take what they want to take from the meeting, right? From the meeting.
Yeah.
That's it. But there was no negotiate. There was never any negotiating.
Well, right now, at this present time, we seem to have a level of power to basically take it to the table. If they are not, okay, so
to have a platform, we don't have any power. So let's go back to talking about communities. We've talked about this many years before. We are not communities. A community, and this is how a community moves. A community like the Hasidic Jews in Brooklyn say, we're going to do what we want to do, and you can implement any laws that you want, but we're still going to do what we're going to do because you can't block and stop us from doing it. But while they're doing it, nobody's being arrested, nobody's being fined, none of that is happening. So when you go back to New York and you talk about the restrictions and what Cuomo's about to do, what he's doing is he's already marked certain areas of the state that are in these red, orange, and yellow zones. In the red and orange zones, each zone, depending on whether it's a school, a dining area, a business, a mass gathering, or a worship gathering, he has allocated what the rules are that's going to happen. Basically, red and orange zones, the schools are closed, remote only. That's it. He says takeout restaurants only dining outdoors, four persons per table. I mean, he's really gone through to say this is what it's going to look like. Had he had done this initially, a lot of things probably would not have progressed the way it is. But like we said before, because every single state is doing something different, the outbreak and the numbers are going up and down because of this. So you down in Georgia, everybody's out. People don't have masks on. They at parties. They having weddings. They doing all kinds of stuff. Same thing in California. So now, well, you know what? The numbers are going up in New Jersey. New Jerseyans, I need y'all to stay out of New York. Unless you have to be here because of work, I need you not to come into the state. Because he's going to shut down, even though there's tons of ways to get into the city, he's going to start shutting down those entryways.
Closing the borders. Yeah, I can see that. And the same thing with Connecticut, too.
So, when we talk about Trump is, we know he's a liar, he exaggerates, he does all of these things because he's an attention seeker. But with everything that he says, one sentence out of what he says is true. The rest of it is an exaggeration and far from the truth. But he was truthful when he said that New York is a ghost town. Theaters are closed. Restaurants around those theaters, all in the Broadway district, those places closed. Garment district closed. So Manhattan is shut down. There's more increase in vacancies for apartments every day, the highest that it has been since the 80s.
And so here's the
Prices-
question I want to ask you, Diane. So if you look at that, right, and you say, people are hurting financially, and not only are people hurting financially, but people are taking risks now. I see more and more people taking risks
Yes.
to go out and to try to earn and to try to create some normalcy. And do you think that when you listen to Joe Biden, or you listened to him yesterday, that there's a fear that he's not tempering the move to want to focus on the coronavirus and stopping the spread with the real agony and anxiety that Americans are feeling because of the shutdown and all the other kind of stuff, and that there may be some backlash that people say, no, we need to figure this thing out. Like we know that the coronavirus is out there, but damn it, we gotta eat and we gotta live, and I gotta pay my mortgage, and
Right. Are you talking about Governor Cuomo, correct?
Well, I'm talking about the voter. Like, you know what I mean? Like the idea of simply just saying, coronavirus is out here. We need to put on a mask. We need to shut everything down. That people don't want to. I'm getting a sense that a lot of people don't want. People want to work.
Well, absolutely. People want to work because they have to earn money because they have the landlord or the bank on their backs to make payments. Luckily in New Jersey, PSE&G can't turn off the utilities, but I don't know what it's like in New York. But the thing with that also is you either have to work to live or live to work. And they're trapped within, and then you add on education because you got kids that are home that can't be home by themselves.
Yeah.
But you got home, or you can't, or you got to be at work. So you have a lot of different dynamics that's going on. So I think a lot of people are starting to be more innovative on how to make money.
So can
I can agree with that too.
I've
Definitely.
been working. I don't understand it because I've been working since it started, right?
Right.
And I've been working for full disclosure. So I work in a mental health facility, right? And yes, we've changed some things. So we are doing virtual appointments, right? But we still have to have clients come in and do blood draws and drug tests and all sorts of things, right? So I've worked through this entire time. Then I was working part-time until maybe a little while ago, right? I was working part-time in a food store. And I chose a food store because I knew I was going to be able to make a maximum amount of money in a short period of time because food stores were going bananas. So I was working 16-hour days, 5 days a week, and I wanted all those hours. And I've never been ill, and no one in my family has been ill. And I just practice safety, right? I wear my mask. I wash my hands. I don't understand quite why it is let me say this different. I think the shutdowns were kind of political.
Absolutely.
Because you can do it. You can work and maintain and practice social distancing. It doesn't have to be shut down. I've actually a couple of times now gone to restaurants because I'm tired of giving up my life, right? Just me and my little girl. She's locked in the house all day long on looking through a video camera. So, yeah, we go to Chili's, we go out, we have to live.
See, that's what I'm talking about, Jody. So now I get that you didn't I'm assuming you didn't vote for Donald Trump, right? So, but to the degree that you want to be liberated from this, like, captivity, right, of COVID-19, Donald Trump is the person who has positioned himself as the liberator, right? And and then on the other side, what are they gonna do? Is what I'm asking. Like, so what do you think the general consensus is for the let's not talk about the, the folks who have decided, right, that I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, so I'm really not listening to the message. I'm voting Democrat, voting Republican. I'm talking about those people who they're still trying to sway. So if there's a person out there who they're trying to sway and they want to go to Chili's and they want to have their life, they want to capture their life back. What is it what is the message coming from the Democratic Party with regard to what life's going to look like if a Democrat wins as relates to COVID-19?
Because I think where he made the mistake, so here's the mistake. I said to you, I've been out there. I've never been home, right? But I practice these things. He doesn't, I don't know why Trump was so unwilling to be smart about it. All he had to say was, hey, we can open up America if everybody wears their mask and practice social distancing. Because people like me prove that works, right? And that's just real. So to me, they were both playing politics on our lives. He would have been the hero. He could have been the hero but that's just like, mistakes that you make along the way. If he had just said, hey, we can open up if all of you wear your mask, practice social distancing, wash your hands, and do it as smart as you can. It was that one little glitch of masks don't work, I don't wear a mask, then you get coronavirus. See, I said to you, I didn't get it because I practiced what I saw. What they told me to do, I did it. I'm like Diane said, if I had not went to work, my God, what would have happened to me again? I wasn't taking that chance. I was actually going to overwork to stash some money so that I was solidifying me and my kid, right? That was his mistake, Eric, and that was politics. So they both played politics, but he was the president, right? So he could have come out of this that I would have probably gone and voted for him. If Donald Trump had said, hey, it's shutting down, we can't afford it, we got to open up, so you got to put on your mask, and you got to wear some gloves, and you got to practice social distancing, and you got to wash your hands. You know what a hero he would have been? And he would have saved the country just that little bitty tweak. But for some reason, politics, for whatever reason, had him to take this stance of it's fake, it's not real, so I'm not wearing a mask. You look goofy with a mask. You look crazy, and you live in a basement. It was just that bad messaging, right?
Well,
Trump
would never have agreed with wearing a mask, for one, his vanity, and two, he was so against scientists to begin with, even talking about global warming. So he could not backtrack and then turn around and say, I'm using science to rationalize as to why we need to do this. Because he said global warming didn't exist. Those scientists and people don't know what they're talking about. So he was already out there before this happened. So he couldn't do it because his vanity and his ego would not allow him to backtrack.
Plus, in doing that, he had to come to admit that the reason that it got to our shores is the way that he gutted out the CDC. And his ego couldn't do that either. So he doubled down on his position. And in fact, he's still on that right now. Even though when he did the interview, and you hear the recording of him saying he knew it was coming, he knew how serious it was, he knew how dangerous it was, and even then he knew that it was an airborne virus.
And for on either side, Biden or Trump, to say anything in regards to the shutting down and the opening up of the school and businesses, they would have to admit they did not have a plan.
Correct.
They didn't have a plan. They were not consulting with people to derive a plan because they weren't consulting with health officials. They were going off of their own thoughts. And the reason why I say Biden as well is because the government, the Congress, the Senate, they too were responsible initially.
Well, part of the plan that they were talking about is that he dismissed, and Obama even said it. We had a plan book, and we left him with it, and they never used it. That was the plan that had to go to stopping it from getting to our shores, and if it did get to our shores, how to shut it down. That was the part that he basically ignored and wished it would go away.
The other thing that they talked about was Affordable Care Act, and it's always amusing to me because Donald Trump says Obamacare, and some people really believe it's Obamacare when it's actually called the Affordable Care Act. So I always enjoy that to hear that from him because I know how much Obama is an angst in his side. But they talked about the Affordable Care Act, and Biden said that he would change the plan so he thought that everybody should be able to get Medicaid. And Trump said we're going to gut it and revamp it. He said, but what I did was one of the biggest things that you guys messed up, and that was eliminating the individual mandate for Affordable Care Act, which was the only thing that he did that was a plus. The only thing. But other than that, he hasn't done anything in regards to health care. And the biggest problem and Trump did not harp on this because he's probably not smart enough to know this, is that Obama and Biden sat down and allowed the insurance companies to write the Affordable Care Act, and that was a problem.
Right.
They should have never been allowed to write it. Input, yes, but to completely write it, no.
Well,
because they're the only one
absolutely.
off of it.
One of the things that actually happened with that and the politics of it was that the Affordable Care Act has been revamped somewhere close to 22 times because of the oligarchs and the lobbyists had the Republicans in an uproar about it. So they had to come to some sort of agreement or compromise with both people. But one of the things that they got out of it was one of the things that the insurance companies were trying to keep out, and that was the pre-existing condition clause and the legal ramification clause. Once they absorbed that, it was a green light. But then it got gutted again by the Republicans because they needed to cripple it. And to be honest with you, Obamacare, which was Hillary Clinton care, which actually was
Mitt Romney.
Romney care.
Mm-hmm. Well, did you hear last night? Biden said it's going to be called Biden Care. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Exactly. So who gives a crap? The other thing that they mentioned that I had some back and forth with some people on Facebook last night that I thought that was very odd, the $15 minimum wage. They talked about that, and Biden talked about how that should be throughout. That should be a national plan, as it should. But still, $15 is still not enough to live off of if you're in Hawaii or California, New York, or New Jersey. While it may be good for somebody out in, I don't know, maybe Pennsylvania, I don't know, North Carolina, Virginia, the southern states where the cost of living is less, but $15 minimum wage is not enough. And there were some people that, and I've had this discussion with some Republicans that say, you shouldn't be able to take care of your family living off of $15 working at McDonald's. That's not where you go to make a living. But they miss the fact that everybody may not have a trade or a college degree or a 2-year degree. They may be coming out of prison or a program and transitioning, and this could be the best job that they can get at that particular time. They shouldn't have to starve at $15 an hour just because they're the server for the checkout person at the window of McDonald's. I don't think that's right.
A $15 an hour mandate is one of the most easiest ones to get passed because you're looking at the average job posting is between $12 and $15 anyway. So, and yeah, it is a simple fact of starving. But another thing is that they need to actually release the restrictions from people coming out of prison as well. In the state of New Jersey, there are 3,600 restrictions from a man getting released from prison and what he cannot do, from housing to jobs to everything. And that banned the box where it says that you don't have to check the box and say, are you formerly incarcerated? All they do is change that. Employees now change that to now the second interview and ask you, were you incarcerated? Now, they don't have to put it on the application, but they can ask you that.
Right.
So that was, I guess that's the highlights for last night. Oh, it was draining.
And it's over. So now we're down to 11 days.
The other thing that I did make a point of is he mentions, Trump mentioned, you know, who they thought was going to come out with the cure, and he said, well, you know, I can't say for instance, but you know, there's Johnson and Johnson and there's Pfizer, and he mentioned all these a couple of other companies, and I said to myself, well, let's see what the stock is going to start looking like with Johnson and Johnson and Pfizer after he makes this.
But here's the crazy part. Johnson & Johnson just last week stopped their trials because someone got ill. And that was weird that Biden, so this is my problem with most people. So I like to, you say something, I'm going to look it up, I'm going to go research that, and I'm just doing it for fun, for shits and giggles, right? How did Biden not know to be able to say that the trial for Johnson & Johnson is shut down?
I know. I was waiting for Biden to give him that too, but he didn't do it.
Really, you was waiting for
that? Yeah, that was very weird for me. Sometimes, well, you know, they're both very old men, you know. And whatever. I don't. I'm gonna leave that alone, but that was strange for me. It was strange.
Yeah. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. So, you know, that was that's my wrap up. I got nothing else to say. I mean,
that was it.
That was it. You know, I don't think it changed any minds.
No.
You know, and I think that both politicians or both.
I said I don't think debates are designed. These presidential debates are not designed to change minds. At least they think they are. But honestly, they don't gain any new voters. They only turn current voters off. You know, so I don't. There is no real win for either side. I think it's just, you know, like you said before, towing the line and just holding where you're at.
Yeah.
Don't lose it.
But I think that you could. I think that you could lose in a debate and cost you some points in an election, right? So, I think that Ronald Reagan certainly gained points in his debate. You know, there have been some other notables that have gained in debates. But last night, again, I think that here's the thing that I'm now willing to concede.
Well, if I could add to what you said about Ronald Reagan in the debate, is Ronald Reagan's national message was on fear and Jimmy Carter's inability or his stance against and his position against taking a hard stance of countries that oppose us. Ronald Reagan pushed that last debate based on the simple fact of the fear of the Russians, and Jimmy Carter's lack of popularity or decrease in popularity for the handling of the Irani situation. And his thing, and subliminally, what people got was, if he can't handle a country like Iran, what is he going to do against the Russians?
Right. But what I'm willing to concede now is this, and Jody, you mentioned it, that Donald Trump wasn't Donald Trump last night, right? He was somebody else's version of Donald Trump.
He was Mike Tyson and Robin Givens.
Yeah, at the interview.
Wow. Wow. He was just there, huh? He was just there. So
I remember that interview.
I'm sorry, Robin. I like Robin.
yeah.
Definitely getting thrown up the bus because of him. But yeah.
She sat up there and said, Mike is dangerous, he's a depressant, he's manic, and Mike Tyson sitting up there looking like, who's she talking about?
He said, mm-hmm, yeah. Oh, God, that interview was priceless. Between that one and Whitney Houston, crack is whack. Crack is whack.
You know
I
what?
will never forget ever in my life. Between those two, and then there was Nancy Reagan talking about just say no campaign.
Yes.
I mean, it's
So can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Have you voted yet?
Yep.
who?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. I have.
Oh, I voted a time ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You voted, Eric?
I did.
You did?
I did. But I told you I was gonna vote.
He told you he wasn't.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know you were there yet? Okay.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
fact,
Rude, you know. and
No. But I
I voted for. And why I voted and how cool that was. So I did vote for the Biden-Kamala ticket, but I really did vote for Kamala. I thought that was mad important for my little girl. And, I don't feel like it's going to, I do want to get rid of the orange dude. I like bad, like really bad. So I was definitely never going to vote for him. But if I was going to make that choice, I was going to make it about something, my interest that, for me. And so it was kind of cool to take my daughter, and she stand beside me, and I was a little nervous about, okay, can I let her circle in this circle, really quickly lean a circle in that one circle, so that you can, cast a vote for a woman in your life. And so I thought that was cool. I think it is, I learned on that day that it's a lie that all the lines are long, because I went at a time when most people would be going, right? I went after work, picked my daughter up, and we went, and it was maybe about 5:45, and we parked in a parking lot, and I went right inside and voted. There was no line. I think those are just like spread out in spaces, and so that was kind of strange to me. And I'm excited about that, just that.
I was
Eric, who you
excited
vote
because
for? I'm gonna be rude. Eric, who you vote for?
I did not vote. Well, so I wrote me in.
for president,
Jesus. You did, Eric?
I did. I wrote me in. Because, and I don't know if it would have been different if it was a swing state, what I would have done. But because New Jersey is so blue, Biden's gonna win New Jersey, right? Irrespective of Eric's.
I said I get you. Yeah. I
Yeah.
get it.
So I didn't vote for either of them. Yeah. And then our illustrious senator Corey, I didn't vote for him. Yeah.
Did you vote for Khalil? I think her name was Cunningham or something like that.
Yep.
She
when it was on the show.
No.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Was she on the show?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, that's who I voted for. But I did not vote for. I protested all the way. Because and it was a protest vote for me. And then there's no way that that our congressman was gonna get my vote. So that's what I did.
I was just a little curious.
Yeah.
He ain't voting for Biden. She already told you that. That wasn't hard to figure out. You're going to go win that fight. Not never, not ever.
Yeah.
What's coming down?
Yeah. I mean, I really want. I want to. I want to vote. And for me, I want to raise the bar in terms of who I vote for and why I vote for them, right? I want them to earn it, right? I don't want to ever vote and say, I'm not gonna get anything out of it, and I'm gonna do it anyway. No, I want to get something out of it, and with those two, my life's not gonna fundamentally change.
Well, you know what? For me, right? So,
No, I get you. I get your
I'm
vote
trying
for
to drive
Kamala.
my daughter. I feel like,
Oh yeah,
a
I
lot
get
of
it.
people where we say that, where we say, you can teach, a man to be at the top of the sports world. I do want my daughter to be a senator. Now that's my stuff, right? But she seems to have an interest in that, so I feel like I can train her in that space. And just like Tiger Woods' dad drove him, so I try to eat, live, and fill her up with social justice and how to get there, schools that can take her there. And so it was that moment where I was able to say to her, listen, if she makes it to the White House as the vice president, you could be the president of the United States. We can drive you in that space. You just have to stay, in this space from now all the way through. And that's kind of, that's why I did it. So it doesn't, because I think that, I think you're right. If it's not giving me something back that can change my life or whatever, but that can change my kid's life. You know what I mean? So I made that decision, and I did make that decision on that day based on seeing President Obama speak to some young black boys in Philly, and it was like a 32-year-old who was already in an elected official position in Philly. And he was bright, and he was smart, and he was savvy, and we were listening to it in the car, me and my daughter. So we just pulled off and went in there and voted.
Gotcha. So for the last two, the court ruled that Uber and Lyft must make their drivers employees. The California Appeals Court on Thursday unanimously ruled against the ride-hailing companies Uber and Lyft, saying they must reclassify their drivers in the state of California as employees. This is going to be a trickle-down effect that's going to hurt a lot of different employees now. Employees, no longer contract workers. In state, watch it come. So close it out. Close it out.
Vincent?
Vincent?
We're at noon. We got to give Vincent an egg timer.
Well, I think I thought we were going to take turns. Why don't Eric? Because Diane did it yesterday. Eric, why don't you close it out?
Oh.
Well, listen. This is what I'm going to say. We got 11 days to Election Day. My hope is that people who go to vote find a meaning in why you're voting, and not just vote because somebody told you to. So, Jody, I could appreciate you voting for Kamala based on, you looking at your daughter and wanting her to see, this historic thing, right? I get that. And I wouldn't want it any other way for your daughter. For me, and this is the beautiful thing about, our democracy with all of the other stuff, right? Is that, you could find this for you and I can find this for me. So my hope is that people find it for themselves and not be herded to vote, right? Just don't be herded to vote. And like the scientists say, and like we say on the show, put your mask on, right? Practice safe distancing, all that other kind of stuff, and enjoy the weekend. And hopefully we'll see you guys on Monday. Thanks for tuning in.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Monday.